Morning, guys. We're on Revelation chapter 13, verses 11, and then we're about to do the second beast, which appears to be more of a person. Just a reminder, the first beast seems to be a political system, a world power, a power that takes control of the whole world economically, with one world currency, and religiously with one world religion. And of those, that beast, which is a terrifying looking beast, with a leopard and a lion and a bear, and also has 10 horns representing 10 kings and 7 heads, and one of those heads gets injured. So whether it's part of the political system or the religious, or not sure what that head will look like, but it'll be a miraculous recovery when that system goes down. And so now we look at a second beast, and it says in verse 11, "When I saw another beast rising out of the earth, it had 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon." So very different to the first beast in the sense that it's appearing like a lamb, like a wolf in sheep's clothing. It doesn't appear vicious. 2 small horns, doesn't appear strong, and yet having the authority and the power of Satan, speaking like a dragon. That's behind this beast. Perhaps a demon-possessed king or man that is going to now take control of this world system. Verse 12, "It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence." And we see that. We see global men rise up with great power, running huge world systems, world banking systems. But behind that are puppets. And so this beast would be manipulating the world affairs so that he can then gain power. So it exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast. So the whole world comes in control of that world system, of that first beast. And it goes on to say, "Whose mortal wound was healed." And I think that's going to become very evident at the time of what that mortal wound is. Verse 13, "It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of the people." And here we see the typical mimicry of Satan. The 2 witnesses brought down fire from heaven. We read that in chapter 11. And now this beast, or this man, demon-possessed man, has the ability to bring fire down from heaven. And whether he's shooting rockets down with his timing, because he's got control of the world system, so he's got control of everything in one sense. And so he can bring amazing illusions. But Satan is always about counterfeit miracles, and we shouldn't be surprised. And that always woos people, and he uses these signs and wonders to cause everyone to worship this system, this global system that he's set up. And it says it deceives those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. And now we look at a little bit extra. Now we know this wound is by the sword. So whether one of the kings, Daniel talks about 3 kings coming out of the 10, and then the Antichrist, but we're not too sure how this will play out. But whether it's a nuclear disaster that takes out some hologram and then it's resurrected, this is something that we don't know for sure. But as I said, it'll become very real at the time. And then it goes on to say, verse 15, "And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak, and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain." And I think we'll look at that on Wednesday. But it's starting to become very interesting of how these systems now start to play out. And we see different entities, and then we'll look at the false prophet and we see the beasts, and behind all of this is Satan, and ultimately he's trying to deceive the world to worship him, and it's a very, very subtle deception. And so we need to be making sure that we're reading the scriptures, that we know what's going to happen. God's given us the details of what will happen in the end. So let's just make sure that we're ready for that. Trust you have a wonderful day. God bless.